Oh, well, hello there. It's Mr. Todd again. Well, Todd is, you can call me just Todd. And I got another video for you for those of you that are kind of looking for the basics of Patchworld. And the one today that we're going to work on is the visuals that you can do in Patchworld, which is pretty amazing. The first thing you need to know is that when you come down to your library, or if I press my three-line button, which is like the menu button, right, with my thumb, it brings this whole thing up, and you have things like world, record, and library. And up on the top of the library, as you've probably noticed before, you have devices, sounds, and then visuals. Now, with the visuals, this is something that most other apps don't have like readily available to you. Like you can go to other things that are in the VR, live VR store and whatever, and you won't get this sort of interactivity. It's pretty great. So the first thing I like to do is put something in the background so it's not like this dead space. So any one of these things you can push on will give you a space behind you. So I just clicked on venue sky space, and just like before, if you press your grip button and just hold it and pull it in, now you have this, I don't know what it is, it's like a rod of some sort, but as I move it with my grip button, you can tell that the background is moving around behind me, right? Pretty sweet. Now, the cool thing about that is that you can move this anywhere and get out of their way. You can move it behind things and hide it, or you can just have it sit there. But one of the neat things about this too is that you can move them around independently, or you can add other things to it. There's a device that allows you to do images, or backgrounds and visuals. That is one of my favorites. So let me switch this venue sky space thing to back to the empty space. But in order to do that, you have to use a tool that I haven't explained yet. It's called the radial menu, and that's at this first button right here. And when you click on the radial menu as you're holding the wand over the venue sky space bar, it gives you a bunch of different options. It says remove, copy, more, and hide from play. And those kinds of things come in handy when you're thinking about building a world that other people can check out. But right now we're going to just remove it. But so one swoop over here, one swoop while you're holding down the button will delete it. Pretty neat, right? We'll undo that so I can show you again. Hold it down, delete it. Undo, hold down, delete it. You want to get into a habit of being able to figure out how to do that on a regular basis. Delete, undo, delete, undo, delete. It's nice to know. So one of the other, there's a couple of devices that I'm going to bring in so you can kind of see what you can do with the visuals. One is background color. So background color comes in when you click on light show. BG color is what it's called. Click on it. You can spawn it or you can pull it in, either way. And look, it's a cool little 3D controller device that lets you change the color of the background just by holding down the trigger button and moving the ball that's inside. Kind of cool, right? I like it a little bit on maybe that side, maybe, I don't know, maybe dark, maybe a bluer kind of thing. Well, let's try that. How about that? Okay. Now, when we move that out of the way, I can kind of show you some of the other things you can do. One of the other things that come up when you're looking at the light show is a thing called party calls. And again, this is one of my all-time favorites. So click on party calls, pull it into the environment. It's this giant thing. And again, if I want to move it around, I just hold my grip button and move it around. But notice behind me, there are all these cool particles that are in the space behind me. Get it? Party calls, particles. So you can change a whole lot of parameters of the particles just as they are. Right now, they're just kind of floating around. If I wanted to make them bigger, stretch them out a little bit, I just turn up the stretch button or stretch slider. Yeah, stretch slider. Yeah, pretty cool. Or I want them big, turn up the size button. Yeah, pretty simple. Motion is really fun because right now it's kind of like, ooh, turn it up. It goes all over the place. It's dizzying, as it were. Curve does a little bit when you're moving. It moves a little bit differently. Slow down the size. So all these things, like where you want them to go, you can have them like actually going up. If you turn up the Y motion, if you turn the X motion, as you can tell, you can probably see, if I turn this down, it goes more sideways. Looks more like a warp. Yeah. And Z, what do you think the Z is going to do? Yeah, it's going to move where it warps to. So I turn this down. Yeah, so all these things can be adjusted. But one of the greatest things about particles is the presets. So when I click snow, it's the first thing that you see. Now, if I push fireflies, where did the fireflies go? Maybe when I did the sizes, it's different. Oh, maybe. Oh, yeah, that's what happens. When you turn stuff up, it stays that way. So any kind of movement that would normally have on a preset, it does a certain thing. So this is the fireflies. These are the fireflies going around me. Very, very much like fireflies. Yeah. Bonfire. Ooh. Yeah. So a lot of this stuff has already been dialed in and added as a preset in particles. Heaven. Lightning. Ooh. Flames. Swirlies. And you can get into that and just really mess around with some of the presets and everything like that. But one of the things that you'll eventually want to get into is figuring out how your instruments interact with these different things. And so I'm going to try that real quick with you. So I'm going to pull out by pressing my library button again, sorry, and then getting one of my favorite devices. Well, maybe it's not there anymore. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to look for my acidic synth, which I've said before is one of my favorites. Pull it into the environment. Here we are. And acidic has been a really cool instrument for me because I've done a lot of sequence stuff and mess around with things, and it sounds good, but it also makes things look good. I'm going to press the menu button again so I get rid of the thing below me. Now, I'm going to turn around, and remember how we turn around. You hold both of your controller buttons down, the trigger and the grip, and then just kind of move around like you're doing a steering wheel. Don't do it too fast, you're going to throw up. So I'm going to start this. Already been, but nothing's plugged into this. Nothing's plugged into the particles quite yet. So I'm going to pull out the note out and put that on the curve. Did you notice how it changed a little bit of how the curve goes? It actually curves with the sounds. And some other of these things do a little bit better at interacting with the sound than others. It actually moves with it. Just by pulling out, I didn't show you how to do that. Let's turn this off for a second. So this is a wire that comes off of any one of these little nodes here. And when you just hold down your trigger button and pull it, it comes out. See that? And I could push that, put that into any other one of these little nodes here. One other node you can put it in is like the X and Y motion. See how it sticks in there? And when I press it again, instead of it just going up in one place, it goes all over. If I hold down the trigger button again and pull it away from there and put it on something else, it affects that. Oop, it didn't connect. So you might be going, how do I change that? Well, you got to move it again, and it works. Take that out. Let's do glow. Well, that's a big change. Kind of hurts my eyes a little bit. Let's do stretch. Yeah, that's a good one. So if I change any of the parameters of the sound, it gives a little bit of a strange change to it. And if I randomize and I give a different, if I give it a different set of settings and then randomize, look. Oh, look at here. This unplugged. See how the stretch changes when you hear that? And you can see the stretch slider change when the sound goes. Yeah. So that's a pretty cool thing to do immediately with all of the with the visuals. So I'm going to turn this. I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to set it back onto a more easily to look at visual. So particles, background colors, those are two really strong visual items. Now, there are other things that I can show you that get into pretty intense visual changes. So I want you, if you want to stop the video here and just play with the things I just showed you, that's great. Those who want to go on, I've got a couple of things I wanted to show you that are a little more advanced. Okay, don't get scared. So I'm going to move this acidic thing back for a sec. Oop, I just moved the Mr. Todd's cacophony thing a little bit. I move that back. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do this. Remember I showed you before how you can hit your radio button and then remove things? I'm going to do that with the acidic. Move my wand over the acidic and then press my radio button and remove. Delete. See how I did that? And I got these little nodes that kind of got stuck out here. I'm going to remove those. Remove. Clean it up a bit here. Take this, put that over there. You got to keep the branding. All right. So, and maybe now just keep this guy out in the way here. So, here's a couple more things. Click on your menu button. Move it out of the way here, and go to, well, blocks. Blocks. Now, blocks have so many different things here. It's like having a box of Legos and just like not knowing what you're going to build, but you have all the pieces. You go down the list of them and they're just like all the different kinds, right? Pretty crazy. So I like using a specific type of block that's called procedural line. And sometimes, let's see. Yeah, I don't see it coming quite up right away. So one of the things that I do when I can't find what I want right away is I go down to the search bar right there, and I start typing things in. So this thing's called procedural line. As soon as I start typing those things, guess what? It comes right up. So I'm going to click that and spawn it. This thing is a super advanced block that no one really knows what it does yet. So for those of you that are advanced people, look for this and mess around with it because it'll give you some really crazy things. Now, what you want to get the procedural line to do stuff is some way to input into it. There's a couple of inputs that I use, and again, they're in the blocks. So if I go back down to my search bar and I go mic, and there's a mic and a microphone. So microphone is what I'm going to use. And then I got a microphone. Then I'm going to show you an oscillator. And an oscillator is just like if you've ever done synthesizers it just sends a signal that's a certain wave. And you see already this output is moving a little bit. If I hold my trigger button inside of this shape and move it down, it shows you triangle, square, sine wave, sawtooth. Yeah, so you can change it to different things. So I'm going to try just keeping it on the sine wave, and I'm going to plug it into the position X. Oh, but before I do that, I want to copy this. I want a few of these. So just like we did before, hold down the radial menu, and instead of removing like we did before, we're going to come over here to copy and duplicate. Oh, look at that, it already just connected to that. Okay, so you've got two oscillators now. See that? That was a pretty fun thing. So I'm going to undo that. And then I'm going to try it again. Duplicate. They just want to get together, don't they? All right. So I'm going to put my microphone here, my oscillator here, and I'm going to start plugging things in to see what happens. That gives me a y-axis, X, and that gives me a y. So now I don't quite know why that it did it that way. Maybe it's because of the type of wave I've got it. But look, if I go back, hello, oh, that it already does a kind of a cool little thing. If I change the sign to saw, it does a little bit of a different shape there. Now I'm gonna do something to this microphone that's gonna change the way the visuals go completely. I'm going to hold my trigger button down and pull this output from the mic into one of these lines. I'm going to do it in the Z. Okay, now when I talk, look what happens. The microphone has a completely different effect on the shape, right? Hello, hello. So I can immediately have a cool visual effect just using the visual lines, two oscillators, and a microphone. Hello, I am the guy that you want to listen to. You might be asking yourself, can I do that with other instruments? Oh, yeah. You can plug the line out into the procedural lines thing, and it will do these kinds of lines for you. Yeah? So one other thing that I don't know exactly why it does it this way is if you take this line progress thing and plug it into line thickness, watch this. Oh boy, now it does this crazy thing. I'm going to take one of the oscillators out. What? I took both of them out, and look what it does. It has this full ho, 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 hey, 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 hey. Now I've turned it into a big shape. And you're like, well, I like white, but what about if we changed it to a different color? So you click to any one of these three colors on the top of the procedural block, and you can change it. I want to change it to this color right here. So I have it brings in a little bit of that color. Now, if I want to try to do another color, let's try that one. Add that one in there too. So we've got two different colors I'm adding. Maybe I'll make a darker color in there. Yeah, da do 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 do, boom 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 boom. Pretty neat, right? So as I showed you, just using a few blocks, I've made something that's an incredible visual that didn't take a whole lot of time or effort, and then your world looks way cooler. So I'm glad you were able to check this out with me. If you have any questions, please hit us up at the Discord, and we'll totally help you in any way possible. Again, some of this stuff is like showing you what is possible with Patchworld, but you didn't even know what you could do. So this block and these blocks are all available to you for you to explore and experiment with. So I hope you have fun, and thanks for checking out this video.